Welcome to Venice. Here are some insider tips for your first trip. The weather is usually humid and perceived temperatures are more intense than you would expect. During the busiest months of the year, we discourage you from following the crowd. You can follow the mass, of course, but only if you don't mind being stuck in huge queues of people. This is particularly true on the main streets that connect the train station, the Rialto Bridge, and St. Mark's. Losing yourself is the best way to discover and appreciate the stunning beauty of the tiny alleyways and narrow canals which make the fabric of Venice. Also, it gives you the opportunity to take better pictures, discover more of Venice, and feel the Venetian atmosphere. Also, you don't need to worry about your whereabouts, as Venice is safe. Venice is divided into 6 districts called sestieri, and the numbers of the houses are numbered according to the districts, not the street. It is almost impossible, however, to find an address if you do not know the way, or even better, the proximity to a certain monument, famous building, or shop. In fact, even the postmen have to use street guides to find out where they should deliver letters. So getting lost is really not an issue at times. Venice is an old pedestrian, traffic-free city with uneven streets and almost 3,000 alleyways that require you to walk and walk and walk. Venice was built to be seen from the water. The Canal Grande, the most beautiful street of Venice, can only be seen from the water, and the facades of the most beautiful palaces are also all on the water. For example, Doge's palace itself was built to be seen from the water. For centuries, the seat of power in the Venetian Republic, the Doge's palace, or Palazzo Ducale, was the residence of the Doge, as well as the house to the political bodies of the state. Administrative offices, law courts, grand stairways, council halls, apartments, and prisons were all fit into this complex yet efficient building. Initially built in the 10th century in a Byzantine style, the reconstruction started in 1340 with the creation of the Great Council Hall. It is a clear example of Gothic architecture. Over the centuries, multiple expansions and changes took place without changing the overall Gothic style. It lost its functions with the arrival of Napoleon in 1797 and was converted into a public museum in 1923. Since then, it has become the most important museum in Venice, telling the history of the longest-lasting republic in history. Absolutely see Venice by boat. Take a gondola, a private boat, a taxi, or water bus, whichever you prefer, but do it. Not only is it the most iconic way to see Venice, it's the best way to see some of the best views. But first, let's talk about gondolas themselves. The traditional iconic gondola are handcrafted entirely using wood. They're made by hand and consist of 280 pieces of 8 different types of wood. They have a flat bottom and they are rowed with a long wooden oar that pivots on a forcola, a Venetian oarlock, also made of wood. However, there are also unique features you may not be aware of. It is the only Venetian boat with a ferro de prova, its typical bow ornament. It's an asymmetric boat. Lastly, it is still used for daily work. While most people think that gondolas are black, the gondolas used for sport and leisure are painted in bright colors or keep a natural color of the wood. The earliest recorded use of the gondolas in Venice dates back to 1094. Gondola rides are one of the most beautiful ways to discover the city. They last about 30 minutes and cost approximately 80 euros for a private ride. It ends right where you began. If you feel approximately 30 minutes is a bit too short for you, you may negotiate a longer ride for a fee with your gondolier, but you must ask for the price before your ride begins. Keep in mind, the gondoliers are very busy, and they do not feel they need to compromise much on their price. There are between 260 and 290 gondolas working in Venice at this very moment. The gondola stations where you can get your ride are Santa Sofia, Sant'Oma, and Gondolas for All at Piazza Roma, with its unique wheelchair-friendly dock. So at the very least, board a water bus and navigate the full length of the Grand Canal before you leave this wonderful port. Let's shift focus to Italian food. You can eat like a local for less than you think. Indulge in the delicious cicchetti and wonderful ombra served at the Baccari of Venice. Okay, if you're like me, you're probably asking what I just meant when I said all that. Allow me to explain. Cicchetto means small quantity of finger food. Baccaro is traditional Venetian tavern, and ombra is interpreted both as shadow and a small glass of wine. Wine street vendors protect their jugs from direct sunlight, which would ruin their wine, where they're found in the shade of the bell towers of the Venetian squares. Venetians wanting a glass of wine would say, "Let's go get some shadow." Now a glass of wine is just called shadow or ombra. Cicchetti are small, affordable, and are made to be eaten with your hands while standing. All are served with ombra, so you should enjoy yourself and have fun times with your friends while enjoying some cicchetti and ombra served at a Baccari. Now it's time for a reality check. Let's talk bathrooms. Public toilets are super clean, but do have a cost to them, are not always easy to find. When in need of a restroom, enter a bar, order a coffee, pastry, or drink, and then ask where the restroom is. As a customer, you have access to the bar's restroom. But do not, I repeat, do not just enter an establishment, use the restroom, and leave. It is considered very rude in Italy to do this. Patronize the establishment in exchange for the use of the toilet. Not only is it good manners, but you will bring a little more income to a local. Now on to water bottles. Bring a refillable water bottle. The water of the fountains in Venice is drinkable and of very good quality. Almost every main square has a working water fountain where you will be able to refill your water bottle. If you want to drink wine, however, there's no such fountain for that yet. In this case, just stop at a Baccaro and they will fulfill your needs. So if your passion is to hear Vivaldi in Venice, eat a gelato, ride in a gondola like you were in a romantic movie, or walk the streets like a native, there is plenty to do while you're in the beautiful streets of Venice.